So basically, what I'm saying is that every religion across the world, no matter what faith it is about, is absolutely 100% nowhere near the actual truth of what the true God that made all of us and earth and everything, the universe, is all about. They are absolutely wrong 100%. These are man made perceptions that they place upon God, period. It's not the truth and it's not real. The Son of God is not going to come back and save the earth one day. I mean, I just can't believe that people believe in Jesus and God. Well, I mean, I see how, because I was once like that too. But once you start to think with your own brain, you'll understand the true story. And the Son of God and Jesus and Yahweh and El are gods that are being worshipped today as the majority, as the major religion across the world. But they aren't even aware that all people that worship gods believe their God is real. Just like the people that worship Zeus. The ancient Greeks, they believed that Zeus was real. That's why they built temples to him. That's why they prayed to him. That's why they made sacrifices to him. And if you went to one of those Greeks and told them that Zeus was not real during that time, they'd have condemned you or laughed at you, whatever. And said that you need to find your faith in this world, and the only faith there is to believe in Zeus. I mean, that's what the Christians sound like, is that they're pushing their theology on everyone else when they don't realize that that's what all religions do. Since we're talking about the gods of fire, I thought I'd bring up the goddess of fire known as Pele. I mean, the local Hawaiians here in the islands still believe to this very day that Pele is very real. They tell their children and grandchildren about it. It's an ancient Hawaiian religion that dates way back. And if you try to tell the local Hawaiians that Pele's not real, they're just going to think that you're crazy. And they're going to tell you that you have to know Pele and you have to bring her into your heart to understand Pele and all this kind of stuff. So basically what I'm saying is that every culture on earth has their own diverse unity in their theology of God. You see, every culture believes that their God is real, obviously, and it pertains to their cultural heritage, blah, blah, blah. So basically, to believe in a God is just one perception among multi thousands, if not millions, of different ways of believing in God. You see, so the Hebrew God is just one culture's perception of what they thought God is, and then they push that view amongst the world. But it's no different than what the, let's say, Native Americans worship, their God, or the Mayan God, or the Roman God. It doesn't matter. The pagan gods, it doesn't matter. They're all man-made and they're all bullshit. They're not real at all. So to say that the Hebrew cultural belief in God is better than the other ones across the world, that way they gonna take over, is bullshit. It's stupid. They're all wrong to begin with. It doesn't matter. So why do you think that Jesus, the Son of God, is always shown with a beard? For the exact same reason that the God of the Bible is always and also shown with a beard. Which is exactly why all of the biblical patriarchs or prophets and biblical characters are always shown with the sacred beard. And it's the same exact story with the Islamic Muslim Muhammad prophet. So this is why you'll find Jews and the Hebrews and the Arabs wearing the sacred beard. So you see, all of the ancient gods always were known for having the sacred beard, like Zeus, or even Saturn L, Dionysus, Odin, or Thor even. And of course, it's the same with the ancient Sumerian gods like Gilgamesh or Marduk or even Enki.
for example, as well as Nana or Nanner, Anu, and even Enlil. So the reason that the God of the Bible has a beard is because the sacred beard, or the old wise man, the Father God, goes way back into history for all of the religions, including those from ancient Egypt, which is why the pharaohs had a beard, exactly like King Tut, Osiris, and even Ptah. So this is exactly why you'll also find the sacred beard on the old crazy guy, or the old wise one, which comes from the pagan druidic order, the old bearded man, or the druid. And of course, one of the Bibles, or one of the two bowls from heaven or hell, the devil, Satan from Saturn, is also why you'll find that Satan, or the devil, has the beard, exactly like the Baphomet. So you see, this is exactly why the bull god Baal is also shown with the sacred beard. So you see, this is why the father bull god El of the Bible is shown with the sacred beard. This is why the bull god of the Bible, El, from the ancient Ugaritic text, clearly states that El is the gray, bearded, ancient one, full of wisdom. So you see, this is why they show the ancient winged bull with the beard. And that's why this ancient lyre with the bull's head on it has the ancient beard of El, the bull god. So our Bible, or the ancient Hebrew Bible, the Torah, or even the El Talmud, or even the Quran, for example, are really nothing more than modern day stories that come from the ancient world and ancient stories. So let's go way back into history to ancient times and find out where the Bible originated from. And I'm not talking about the time of Jesus or around 2,000 years ago. I'm talking way beyond that, over double that, way back into history, some 4 to 5,000 years ago, or 2 to 3,000 years before the Bible was even written. So you see, the truth is, the Bible is not an original story whatsoever. It is actually an older story that goes way back into history. It is basically a copy of older stories. And the truth is, everyone has been duped, because a dupe is a copy or a double. It is a duplicate. It is a dub, which is a double. You see, people actually think that the Bible is an original story. But what are the chances that there are the same stories being told in the Bible in other parts of the world, in ancient history, and other literature besides the Bible? So let's go back about 4,000 years ago, or about 2,000 years before the Bible was even written, and we are going to look at the same exact stories that come from the ancient cuneiform tablets. And these ancient stories include the Sumerian creation myth called the Eridu Genesis, or the Babylonian Akkadian creation myth called the Enuma Eli, or the Enuma Elis, as well as the Sumerian Mesopotamian story called the Epic of Gilgamesh. So let's take a look at the Epic of Gilgamesh and the hero Gilgamesh. So it's quite interesting that the Epic of Gilgamesh is found on 12 clay cuneiform tablets. And then, of course, in the Bible, we find the number 12, as in the 12 disciples of Jesus and the 12 tribes of Israel. And of course, the 12 is the 12 houses of the zodiac, which is why Jesus has 12 disciples, because Jesus represents the Son of God, which is 13. And you can do your own research to find out the relationship between the Bible and the Epic of Gilgamesh, like in Wikipedia, where it reads, the parallels between the stories of Enkidu, Shemot, and Adam and Eve have been long recognized by scholars. In both, a man is created from the earth by a god and lives in a natural setting amongst the animals. He is introduced to a woman who tempts him. In both stories, the man accepts food from the woman, covers his nakedness, and must leave his former realm, unable to return. The presence of a snake that steals a plant of immortality from the hero later in the epic is another point of contact. So in the Bible, we have the tree of life, which is like a plant, and the serpent, which steals their immortality, exactly like the Epic of Gilgamesh, where we have a serpent that steals the plant of immortality. And you'll notice in both stories that the serpent is considered evil. And they both have the story of consuming the sacred tree or the sacred plant of immortality. Now, the similarities between the Epic and Gilgamesh and the Bible go on and on. Like, the god Enlil gets mad at mankind and wants to send a flood to destroy mankind, exactly like the god of the Bible. In both stories, a god warns a flood hero that a flood is coming and tells him to build a boat or an ark so that he can survive the flood, and to put all of the animals on the ark so that he can replenish the earth. So just ask yourself, what are the chances that the Bible flood story or the deluge can be found in ancient history thousands of years before the Bible was ever written? And no, it does not substantiate the fact that a flood ever happened. What it does substantiate is that the biblical story is nothing more than plagiarism from much more ancient stories with different names and characters. Even ancient Greece has a deluge flood myth, where we find that the polytheistic pagan god Zeus sends a great flood. And let's not forget that Zeus was known as a bull god, exactly like the ancient Sumerian gods of the Epic of Gilgamesh. Anu, the bull god, Enlil, the bull god, and other Sumerian bull gods like Sin, as well as Inanna or Ishtar. And of course, the god of the Bible is also a bull god. And you'll notice that all of these gods come from basically the same area. Now, of course, our characters or our heroes in the Epic of Gilgamesh are also related to the sacred bull, which is why they are bullmen or wear the bull horns. And of course, they slay the sacred bull of heaven. And after Gilgamesh and Enkidu kill the bull of heaven, they tear out its heart and offer it to the sun god Shamash. So the ancient story of slaughtering and slaying the sacred bull goes way back into history, from the ancient Sumerians, the Greeks, and even today they are still slaying the sacred bull. So now we'll take a look at the Holy Bible and the relationship to the ancient story called the Enuma Elish, or the Enuma Eli, the El people, which is an ancient Babylonian creation story written thousands of years before the Bible. So the Enuma Elish and the Holy Bible are related in many, many aspects, but I'm going to cover just a few of them to prove that the story is plagiarized. So the ancient serpent dragon goddess Tiamat is the primordial goddess of the black abyss or the deep. So in the Enuma Elish creation story, the primeval or primordial gods is Absu, who is the god of fresh water, and Tiamat, the goddess of salt water. So the Enuma Elish, which is a creation story written thousands of years before the Bible, talks about the two waters, or the waters that are divided. So this is why in the Holy Bible, or the creation story, we find the story about the waters that were divided, the firmament above and the firmament below, the waters that are divided. So Tiamat is the goddess of the deep, which is why when you read Genesis 1, it reads, "Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep." And when we read the creation story from the Enuma Elish, it reads, "When the sky above was not named, and the earth beneath did not yet bear a name, and the primeval Apsu who begot them, and Chaos, Tiamat, the mother of them both, their waters were mingled together, and no field was formed, and no marsh was to be seen, when the gods none had been called into being."